What is up, guys? And this video is going to be a little different because I'm not playing Kaiju Universe. I'm making a tier list of every single Kaiju that's currently inside of the game. Now, this is going to range from S tier all the way to D tier because none of them are really F tier, I don't think. Like, super bad. But I'm using a Google Drive or slideshow or whatever because I didn't want to have to download this one thing and it would just take way too long. So let's get started. So first on our list we have Anguirus. Now Anguirus is one of the starter Kaijus. Now this is gonna go basically, so we're gonna start with the starters, how ironic. Then we're gonna end with the big strong Kaijus, I believe. So Anguirus, I'm gonna put him right here. He is free, he deals a decent amount of damage, but he's not the best starter Kaiju, so that's where he goes. Next we have Shinagawa-kun. Shinagawa-kun is barely better than the starter Kaijus, but he is better. So I'm gonna put him barely. He gets barely B tier. I mean, he's a little bit more expensive, but even if you're brand new to the game, you can get 800 G cells in like 10 seconds. So yeah, that's where he goes. Showa Gaigen is the only starter Kaiju that can fly. So because of that, and because he can team and he does a decent amount of damage at max, he gets B tier as well. He can be taken down pretty easily, which is why he doesn't get higher, but I think that's where he goes. Gojira. These guys are super annoying to deal with. However, they aren't really the best and can be taken down pretty... Oh, whoops. They can be taken down pretty easily. They can do a ton of damage, but if there's a bigger Kaiju than them, they can be taken down easily. So he gets C tier. Kamada-kun, in my opinion, is the best starter Kaiju. So and because of that, he gets B tier because he does a ton of damage for some reason. I think they buffed him a little too much, probably. So he gets B tier. Showa Manila, I don't really see many people using anymore. His requirements are ridiculous. He's not even that much better than like Gojira and whatnot. So because of that, he gets D tier. He's basically a less better version of Manila X, but that's where he goes. Gazora gets A tier. For 3,500 G cells, it deals a ton of damage in the water. It's insanely fast in the water. And you can, if you do like this weird glitch where you can fly up into the air, you can land on top of like low-level destroyers if you're at max, and you can kill them pretty easily. So that's why he's getting A tier. Millennium gets B tier. He's not the best, he's not the worst, but he's medium, so that's why he gets B tier. Mothra Larva gets C tier because it's not as strong as it used to be, and plus it's not really that easy to max because they can be killed pretty easily. So I'm putting him there. Showa Kumonga is basically no better than really any of the starter Kaijus, so that's why I'm putting it here. It's kind of weak and probably should be buffed a little bit. And next we have Kumonga's cousin, Mother Longlegs. So I'm gonna put it in the same tier because it only really has one move that's powerful, and plus the Skull Island Game Pass is incredibly expensive. And it's not, I mean, it is insanely fast, don't get me wrong, but actually, because of its speed, I'm gonna put it right there. But other than that, if it weren't for its speed, it would be in D tier, so that's where it goes. Melmuto is the same price as Gazora. If you max these things and become insanely good with them, they are, or actually, since they can be taken down by bigger Kaijus, I'm gonna put him right here, but he is incredibly close to being an A tier, is what Melmuto gets. So Skull and Wendigo Crawler are basically the same, I think, so they get B tier, because if you like back up and keep damaging people, you can actually somewhat kill them, so that's, they get a B tier. Batra, D tier. Definitely, I mean, it's probably, it actually, you know, to be honest, it probably is the worst Kaiju to buy. It's insanely weak, its moves are insanely weak, it's slow, and it's overall not really that good. Megalon gets B tier. He can dig under the ground, he's free if you join the Prometheal Games group, and he deals a decent amount of damage for being so small, so he's getting B tier. And next on my list is Titanus Mothra. Now Mothra gets, I'm gonna put Mothra in A tier because it's a very good Kaiju. It's very small, hard to hit, and very fast. It deals the spitball that it fires does more damage than it should. And it doesn't go in S tier because that's where Titanus Rodan goes. So yeah. Alright, so on to the next slide. Heisei Mothra is basically a little bit downgraded version of Titanus Mothra. So because of that, it gets right here. I mean, it is a little bit cheaper. Or actually, I guess we're gonna leave it right here for now. I might change it, but you know, who knows? Millennium Kamobus. He's not really that strong. He's kind of slow out of the water, and I don't really see many people using him, so he gets a C tier. Komodolf Kun gets kind of I'm gonna put him in B tier for now. I might have to buff him up, but he's a little bit glitchy. His moves aren't really that strong, even at max level. So he gets right here, but I do love his design. 10 out of 10 design. Singular Point Anguirus is basically a better version of Anguirus. He can deflect moves, but he gets B tier because he is not really the best, but also not the worst, so he's mid. Turkey Rodan, you can't see this thing's health bar or levels, so you don't know if it's a noob or pro. And because of that, it gets A tier. And it deals a decent amount of damage too. I mean, it is limited, but I like it, so it's going right there. Show Amanda is a little bit expensive for its damage that it does. It doesn't really do that much. I'm putting it right here because not many people use it. It's slow and just can be taken down easily. This is the Kaiju that nobody ever, I mean, never use this thing. So I will put him right here. He's or actually no, we'll leave him right here. He's kind of weak. Even at max level. I mean, they do a decent amount of damage, but his model could be a little bit better, but he's going in C tier. Titanus Scylla is, oh whoops, I moved the wrong thing. Titanus Scylla is gets B tier. It used to be stupidly broken about like 2 years ago. It got a rework. I mean, it's still pretty good for 25,000 G cells, but it's not as good as it used to be. So it's going right here. Violent A tier. For 6,000 G cells, this thing is big, it's strong, it's a little bit slow, but you can take down Godzilla 2014s and 2019s with ease. So it's going there. If it was faster, it would be an S tier, but it's going right here. Godzilla Jr. gets C tier. If it wasn't for his level 15 Gojira requirement, he would be in B tier. But he's not really as strong in my opinion as he used to be. I mean, you do need a maximum for Destroyer, which is pretty easy, but yeah, I'm just gonna put him right here. Female Muto gets A tier. It's pretty good for its price. It's only 7,000. It's pretty overpowered for being, what do you call it, 7,000, so it's going right here. Heisei Fire Rodan will go right here. He's not really as strong as he used to be. I mean, maybe he is, but you need level 50 to unlock his beam. I mean, I guess I can put him right here. He's pretty fast, but that's all the higher he's getting. Heisei King Ghidorah, one of the worst wastes of money, getting D tier, because it can be pretty strong at max, but it's hard to max, it's weak, it gets targeted, and it's overall not really that strong from the start. Jet Jaguar regular is getting C tier, because he is not really that strong. I mean, he's pretty strong when you level him up, but at lower levels, he's pretty weak, and he's not really easy to level up and fight people with, so he gets C tier. I don't think they've nerfed Megaguirus yet, so A tier. I mean S tier. This thing is beyond words fast. It is very hard to hit, and it's pretty cheap as well. I don't know if they nerfed it or not, but the only bad thing about it is that its health is a little bit lower, but if you become good with this thing, you can kill a lot of people with this thing. So it gets S tier. Cherno Alpha was the latest one added to the game. He's pretty strong. His requirements are a little bit goofy, but he gets right here because he is pretty strong when you level him up. Kong 2017 gets C tier. He would be in B tier, but the Skull Island Game Pass is expensive, and he can be beaten pretty easily by other kaijus at lower level. So he gets C tier. Or actually, no. You can like back up with him, but he's probably low B tier is what I would give him. Showa Godzilla cannot team anymore, and because of that, it's not as strong as it used to be, so it's going right here. I mean, it's still the same strength and everything, but it can't team anymore, so that's why it gets C tier. Mogira is another big waste of money, kind of like Heisei Ghidorah, but this thing, Mogira used to be super good. Like, if you guys had a max Mogira, you guys could compete with Destroyers, but this thing is not good anymore. It's a waste. I would not recommend buying it, so it goes there. Zombie Gigan will get B tier. Zombie Gigan is He can run around and infect people. He's basically better than a Shogagan, but he cannot fly, and he's seasonal, so it's good. I'm gonna put him right here. Alright, so we now have to jump slides again, but Showa King Ghidorah, he will get right here, because he is pretty good for being pretty cheap, so not really much else to say about him. He goes right there. Jet Jaguar Beta gets a very high B tier. He's, even though he cannot team anymore, he still does a pretty good amount of damage for being, like, whatever it is, like 15,000 G-cells or whatever. So he's going right there. RPO Mecha gets a C tier, because he's a bit expensive. He's not the strongest. I believe he was nerfed. I mean, he doesn't have any custom requirements, but, he, cannot team, and, he's going right here. Godzilla 2014 gets A tier, 100%. Because this thing, he can compete with Godzilla 2021s and sometimes come out victorious. And Godzilla 2019s. He's only 20k, way cheaper than 2021 Godzilla. But he's almost as strong as 2021 Godzilla, so he goes right here. The Nutcracker is basically like Jet Jaguar Beta, although he's like not even that much better, I don't think. Maybe he is, but I personally don't think he's that much better, so I'm going to put him right here. He's seasonal, he's off sale, and he was harder to get, so he gets down here. Titanus Rodan, for similar reasons, gets S tier. Kind of lower S tier, but still S tier, because he's insanely fast, he's cheaper, and he's really good. He's like basically Titanus Mothra, but better, kind of like I said before, so he gets maybe a little bit lower S tier, but he still gets S tier. Volcanic Bio gets D tier. It's not even that much better than regular Biolant. Even if it was, it would probably not get much higher than a C tier. It's kind of a waste, so I've never seen anyone play with these things ever. So that's where he goes. Behemoth, S tier. 1000% S tier. Now, some of you might object. What's so special about Behemoth? The special thing about Behemoth, he can team. He's more expensive than Scylla. Scylla cannot team, but he can, and he's insanely strong. So he can team. So he's 1,000,000% S tier. Millennium Godzilla will get, I'm gonna give him B tier. He's, pretty good for his price. He's not too special. I mean, they did rework him, like a few months ago. But, there's not really much to say about him, so he gets B tier. Showa Mechagodzilla, for the same reason as Mogira, it was nerfed, it's expensive, it's a waste of money, it's not strong, it's weak, and, it goes there. Frozen Behemoth barely hits, almost hits A tier. The only thing that's bad about him is his slowness, but actually we can move him right here. He's really strong, so we can move him to A tier. Final Wars Godzilla needs a remodel. He's not really that strong. I mean, he is cheap, but he's not really as strong as he should be, and he needs a remodel, so he's going right here. Burning Godzilla is really good for his price, so I'm gonna put him right here. He's a little bit pricey, but he's probably worth it, in my opinion. So he goes in A tier. USS Argo is the only kaiju in the game I've never tried. It doesn't seem that strong. I mean, maybe it is. I'm going to give it B tier because Destroyers can probably beat it, to be honest. So I'm going to put it right here. Vudon and Juju, for the work you have to put in, it's B tier. But for the damage it does, I'm going to put it right here because it's not really as good as Titanus Rodan, I don't think, but it's a seasonal one, and it's probably maybe worth it, but I'm gonna put it in A tier. Godzilla 2019 is A tier, because he is more expensive than G14, but he's also a little bit stronger than G14. He's 35k G-cells, but he gets right here, because he can compete with Godzilla 2021s. Muto Prime gets S tier. This thing's range is so painfully overpowered, it's hard to compete with it, unless you're a flying kaiju. The requirements for it are a little bit tricky, but other than that, it's a very good kaiju. Kamakura-san, this thing is incredibly cheap, it's easy to level up Shinagawa and Kamada, and it's only 25k G-cells, and it can knock people out of the sky, so it's getting S tier. Cleric Muto gets, I mean, this thing was pretty difficult to obtain if you're on a big public server. So, because of that, it goes right here. I mean, basically, it deals a ton of damage like Muto Prime. It's very similar in damage to Muto Prime, actually. But, it goes, right here, maybe slightly lower S tier. Well, actually, no. It goes right here, because it was harder to obtain than Muto Prime. It's off sale, and, Muto Prime can beat it. So, It's almost S tier though. Very close to being S tier for Cleric Muto. Frostbite Godzilla is a little bit less powerful than Frozen Behemoth, but he is very strong, has a cloud and a beam, so because of that he gets A tier. Kiryu is very good for being very cheap, and his requirements aren't too hard, so he 100% gets A tier. He would get S tier, but he can be beaten by bigger kaijus, but he's a strong A tier, 100%. Manila X. Now I know some of you are going to be mad at me for this, but he gets B tier, because there's a couple reasons for this. I hope you agree with me. So you need a level 100. I mean, you need 100 days of missions to get this guy, which takes about 3 months. And level 30 Show Manila isn't really that hard. But the reason this guy isn't higher is because level 1 to 100, he doesn't excel. Like when I bought Manila X in my video, just like what I said in that video, you got to keep in mind that he's not going to be really strong until you get him really, like, to maybe, like, level 150. Because he's also very hard to... I don't know how much XP he needs to above, like, level 100. But if it at level 1000, this thing is S tier. No question. But overall, he gets B tier. Very close to being A tier, but I'm going to give him B tier. Hey, we had to jump slides again, but Heisei Godzilla is a strong B tier. He's not too hard to get. He's pretty powerful, and because of that he gets B tier. So Thermo is a bit pricey, so because of that I'm going to put him right here. His damage 100% is A tier, but his price is right here, so he's going to be in B tier. If you guys didn't know already, I'm ranking a kaiju by overall, like, everything about them. Ultima gets A tier, no question. Very, very, very strong A tier. He would get S tier, but he's a little bit slow, and people can dodge his attacks pretty easily. So, I mean, his tail is pretty long, but actually, you know what? He gets S tier, because his tail is long, and he can hit people from far away. But yeah, he's pretty big. He's big, he's strong, and yeah, not much else to say about him. Titanus Kong is kind of a waste of money. You need Godzilla 2021 to get him. He's pretty weak, and so he's good. For his price, he's weak, but I'm gonna put him right here. So Godzilla 2021 is very good, but since Godzilla 2014 and 2019 can compete with him and sometimes destroy him, he gets B tier. Either he needs to be buffed, or the more likely reason, Godzilla 2014 and 2019 need to be nerfed. So he gets a B tier for now. Monster Zero, S tier. This thing, it's extremely hard to max, but it's worth it. You can summon in a cloud around it, and you can kill destroyers with it. So it's a very strong S tier. Mechagodzilla 2021 also gets a S tier. He's not really that hard to get anymore, because before you had to have Monster Zero in order to get him. You don't anymore. He's not too expensive, but he's the best land kaiju. He's cheaper than Ultima. And I think he's really good. Now we have our good old buddy Destroyer. That's the only good kaiju that doesn't have a remodel yet. I don't even have to explain it. It gets S tier, no question. It's pretty expensive, but it is not too hard to get. You have to max Heisei Godzilla and Godzilla Jr. in order to get him. It's not really too hard to do. But the 750,000 G cells is probably the hardest part, but once you get this guy, it's worth it. He's big, he's strong, and at level 100, everyone's going to be afraid of you, so he gets S tier. EVA-1 gets a S tier as well, because he's the endgame kaiju. He's very strong at low levels. He can beat a bunch of kaijus, and he has a bunch of different forms, like he has a trident, a machine gun, a knife, and whatever. And he can also, like, do this one ability where he, like, hovers in the thing and, like, goes into, like, super mode or whatever. So he gets S tier. And that basically concludes my Kaiju tier list video. I hope you agree with me. This is just off the top of my head where I think they should go. If you agree with me, let me know down in the comments. If you do not agree with me, which is more likely, let me know which Kaiju should go where. And maybe I can try some of them out and see if you guys are correct. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye!